This is Michael Spedden, and welcome to Fowl Players Radio, your one-stop shop for all of your pop culture needs. We feature interviews from musicians, actors, comics, dancers, authors, and much, much more, up-and-coming artists and beloved favorites. We've got it all, people on stage, backstage, out front, and behind the scenes. Sit back and relax. Let's have some fun.
Hey, this is Ronnie Yonkins, and you're listening to Fowl Players Radio. Rock and roll.
This is Skinzakis, and you're listening to Fowl Players Radio.
And welcome again to Fowl Players Radio. Michael Spedden here. Tonight's guest is David Shaw from Streetlight Circus. I had a really great, enjoyable conversation with David talking about past shows that they've done. You know, they really do well in the Mid-Atlantic region. A lot of people love them, and I really do too. They have a new album out called Kisses Like Bullets, 2 singles recently. Kisses Like Bullets, the single, and Creek Don't Rise is another one that's going to be coming out in August. So I had a great conversation with him talking about, you know, just band guy stuff, as we always do here on Fowl Players Radio, and had a great time. Remember, folks, get out and support these indie bands, these up-and-coming bands, you know, these all local artists. You know, buy tickets, buy albums, CDs, shirts, whatever they have out there, books. They make great gifts, and they're good to have. You know, there's a lot of great quality stuff out there, even though they may not be from a big publisher. You know, definitely quality stuff out there, and I wouldn't steer you wrong, folks. So remember, foulplayersradio.com, where you can find all of our episodes in the audio format. You can also find our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@foulplayersradio, where you can find all of our episodes since season 9, plus some best of episodes in our YouTube video format. So, folks, remember, when you go there, hit that like and subscribe button, and we will be right back with Streetlight Circus's David Shaw. Stick around. The Fowl Players of Perryville, the Mid-Atlantic's premier murder mystery company, have upcoming shows on the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad, Fifth Company Brewing, Susky River Beverage Company, Madigan's Waterfront, Maryland Party Boat, and more. If you are interested in seeing a show, our website is www.foulplayersofperryville.com, and if you are interested in booking us, please reach out to us at foulplayersperryville@yahoo.com or 443-600-0446. Remember, every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. and Sunday at 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time for the replay is The Back of the Rack, the Michael Spedden Show on 97underground.com, Baltimore's pure rock worldwide. We feature blasts from the past, songs you forgot you liked, hidden gems, classics that never die, local and national act interviews, and music from up-and-coming and beloved classic bands. Go to www.97underground.com and download the free app today and listen to us wherever you go, anytime, anywhere. Also, see our archive of interviews on YouTube at 97 Underground Michael Spedden. We thank you for watching and listening to Fowl Players Radio. Our main website is www.foulplayersradio.com, and our YouTube channel is youtube.com/@foulplayersradio. Remember, please support our guests in their endeavors. Shop small and buy local. Links to their books, albums, tickets to their shows, and much, much more can be found in the show notes of each episode. Enjoy today's show.
Hi, this is Randy Jackson from Zebra, and you're listening to Fowl Players Radio.
This is Andy Henson. You're listening to Fowl Players Radio.
And welcome back to season 11. We've got 11. Our seasons go to 11 so far of Fowl Players Radio. Michael Spedden here, and our guest tonight is David Shaw from Streetlight Circus, a band out of the New York area who has a lot of ties, and it turns out that it's a small world because we know half of the same people as each other. And he's performed around here for years, not only in this area, pretty much up and down the East Coast here, from looking at your dates just from the last couple of years. And well, I'm going to shut up and introduce you. Welcome, David. Good to have you today.
Good to be here. Fowl Players Radio. I believe their chickens should be running around here any moment, right? Is that right?
Yes, yes, yes. Ostriches, emus, chickens,
Okay, good. I'm all about
just
it.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And
Happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
sure, it's my pleasure to have you. My pleasure to have you. Your band, Streetlight Circus, just released a new album.
We did.
And it's called Kisses Like Bullets. And tell us about this.
I'll do my Price is Right showing of the album. This could be yours if the price is right.
And if it's not, you get a year's supply of turtle wax and rice-a-roni.
Yes, but this sounds better.
Yes, yes.
It's in your CD player. The other two will mess up your CD player. Yeah, Streetlight Circus, Kisses Like Bullets. Yeah, we just put it out a few weeks ago. 4-song EP, follow-up EP to our full-length album that came out in 2022. Look, I have that one too. Superfine Sugar, something we're very proud of. Both of these releases. And yeah, it came out a few weeks ago. We're very psyched about it. They were kind of 4 songs that I wouldn't say didn't make the cut for Superfine Sugar. They just kind of got cut because of numbers.
Yeah, right.
And we wanted to get them out there, and we were very fortunate that Golden Robot Records out of Australia came along and said, "We'll do that. We'll put that out for you." So they did, and it's streaming globally thanks to them. And you can go to streetlightcircus.com and get yourself a handy dandy CD right here. So
my manager keeps telling me to think that every time I end up on the cutting room floor
yeah.
from a TV show or something.
Yeah.
But just a matter of numbers, Mike. That's all it was.
Yeah, you're not really cut. It was just a numbers game. That's all.
I know. Yeah. I know. I said, well, unfortunately, that only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades,
Exactly. Well, that's why we kind of got lucky. We were fortunate that we were able to throw these ones out there, and we're gotten some good reviews from it so far, and people seem to be digging it. So no complaints.
That's great to hear. That's absolutely great to hear. And I've enjoyed listening to this album. You got my copy here. Thank you.
Yeah.
And pardon me, I've been listening to it. I really like the material. You've been performing this out for a while. I guess it's not new to you, but new to people who are getting to know you, and new to the
Streetlight Circus name, I guess. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, a couple of these songs have been around. The title track, Kisses Like Bullets, and the another song on there called Keep Up With You have been kind of in our repertoire for a long Keep Up With You, even before Streetlight Circus existed, has been kicking around. The other two we really haven't played live at all. Creek Don't Rise and On the Rails Again. So when we finally get around to trying to get those on stage, we're gonna have to relearn them like they're cover songs. Since we recorded them, but that'll be fun, But Kisses Like Bullets was a mainstay of our set for quite some time. The title track, and it's fun to have that back in our set now. We just did a 3 dates in a row, like promoting the record release parties. We did one in New York City, we did one in Baltimore at Fishhead Cantina. And then we did one in Mount Holly, New Jersey, and it was great to just get some of these songs on stage again. So
yeah, wonderful. It's a feeling of accomplishment to finally get it out, because I know firsthand myself what it takes to get an album recorded and done, and all the things that drive you nuts, and all the things you have to do, and over and over again. And once it's finally reached the finish line, I mean, it's just got to be such a great feeling.
It really is. It's we weren't sure if this was going to be the time to really put these 4 songs out, but we're in a lot of ways we're still promoting the 2022 release. We feel like it still has legs. We feel like there's still some songs from there we haven't played on stage yet that we'd like to play. We really, really love that album. That's this album that I showed you here, the Superfine Sugar. But we've been doing so many gigs, and our fans have have the album and have seen a lot of those songs live, that I kind of told the guys, let's just see if there's somebody who wants to pick this up and get this thing out there, and just put these other 4 songs out there. And it's almost like the complete set. It kind of finishes Superfine Sugar in a lot of ways, because they were the 4 songs that just didn't make that album, and now it feels like the full package is out there. So it's great for us. I think it's really good for, the fans we have who are, always like getting new material and hearing new stuff from us live, and keeps it fresh for us too,
Yeah, yeah. And it looks like this is your what, fifth release, maybe?
Yeah, it is. We've had three full-length albums and two EPs. So
Sure, sure.
the self-titled album came out in 2012. That was the year we got to play M3 for the first time. We played the M3 Rock Festival in Columbia, Maryland, which was really cool. It really broke us in the Mid-Atlantic area. I think, I'll be honest with you, we're from New York, but
Hmm.
our home base is probably kind of Northern Virginia, Baltimore, PA. The Mid-Atlantic area has really embraced this band, and I've got to give a lot of credit to M3 for giving us a shot on that stage with all of those heavyweight names back in 2012, put us on the map down there. And we put out our self-released album for that. They invited us back to play M3 again in 2013. So we put out an EP, so we'd have some new material for that. We had an EP called Snake Mountain Sessions. So 2 years in a row playing that huge stage in front of thousands of people at M3 really went a long way to solidify a fan base in that area. And we tell people when we play in Baltimore, and whether it's in Leesburg, Virginia, where we play often, and that area, that there are people. We really feel at home when we just come 3-4 hours south of us. That's really home for us in a lot of ways, more so than New York even. We play there way off
Yeah.
more often than we play in our own backyard.
In my experience, I had a very similar type of, the genre of music, the M3, and what you do really has been a mainstay in this area here.
Yeah.
I'd have to say, even going back to the late 70s, even kind of the dawn
Yeah.
of the, this type, this genre. Even through now, it really has always been a hotbed of it. And, the bands that came out of this area too, who ended up being successful, this genre, and I can really see, the Baltimore DC corridor.
Yeah.
I remember playing it very well. I played it years ago, in the late 80s and early 90s. I was in bands and did it too.
Yeah.
And it really, I don't know, there's just something about this area that is just very welcoming, and I guess feels really at home with that genre. Don't you agree?
I do. I agree. And people have just really embraced us, down
Mhm.
there, and that's been a really nice feeling. We were down in Leesburg, Virginia, last year opening for Lita Ford. And we had a lot of fans there. We had people who knew us there, but it was a packed house. I was shocked, and that's no knock on Lita. I was just absolutely shocked on how packed that house was. And they were rabid Lita Ford fans. And it was great. And I'm telling you, the line over at our merch table after, people just coming up and talking to us and buying CDs and shirts from us, and we're the opening band. We're not, I'm not Lita, I'm not Lita Ford. I certainly can't fit into her bras. She, there, I don't look as good as she does, but they were into it, and they were really supportive of us. And listen, part of it, I would like to think, is because we're pretty good at what we do, and we're good at, getting a crowd going.
Mhm.
And part of it's because it's an area that has just embraced, they're willing to embrace up and coming bands, and they'll be there for the opening act, and they'll give you an honest listen, and if they like you, they will support you. We've had fans that have been sticking with us since we played M3, and even before that, 2011, 2012. We've got Baltimore area fans who have our logos and designs tattooed on them now. It's incredible. And we open for some of these bands, whether we're opening for Lita Ford or Stephen Piercy or Buck Cherry, or we opened for Blue Oyster Cult down there once. Tons of people in our t-shirts, and it's very gratifying and means a lot to us. We don't take that for granted,
Oh, well, yeah, doesn't sound like it.
No,
And
it's humbling. It's very humbling.
yeah, yeah, it really is. It really, there's no finer compliment. And, than when somebody really, you know, I guess pays, well, it's paying you a compliment, but, there's really no finer compliment than people really digging your stuff when you can really tell.
Yeah. Cool.
Seeing the people in the room and getting a good response is just, it's just very, 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 gratifying, you know.
And we're a band that works hard for it. I mean, we really give our all on stage. We take a lot of pride in our stage show. I know, I've talked to you about, my love for KIX, growing up from that area, and we've opened for them so many times. And growing up seeing those guys live, I just always knew this is the kind of stage show that a band's getting. Not that I'm not saying we're KIX or we're as good as them on stage or any of that, but
Mhm.
you get inspired, right? And you say, people pay good money to come to a show. You want to give them a show, and we do our best to do that. We do our
Mhm.
best, and I try to keep it light and fun, and humorous with the crowd, and we try to keep them engaged. And it's worked so far. Knock on wood. So far, so good.
Well, great, great. It looks like you've done a number, besides M3, you've done a number of other ones. We've got, looks like Rock Fest that you've done, Rocklahoma. How was that?
Rockfest Rockfest is great. Rockfest in
Mhm.
Wisconsin we've done twice. That's a fantastic festival. Really well run. We've made, and that's kind of, you talking about taking us out of our area, all the way going out to Wisconsin a couple of times and starting to build a fan base in the Midwest has been really fun for us. And, we'll tour on our way out there and on our way back when we get that gig. And it's been twice now. Hopefully we'll be back again. That one was great. We played a festival called Wolf Fest in Colorado, which was a lot of fun with KIX on one of the two times we played out there. They
Oh, is
were on.
that right?
We've played with KIX in many states now. It's
Uh-huh.
kind of ridiculous. Um, uh, as a matter of fact, they were on one of the Wisconsin bills too. They were at Rockfest one year we played there. So that was fun. I guess we're just following those guys around. But we've had a lot of fun playing some of these big festivals. That helps a band like us out a lot, gaining some new fans in one shot, all these people, thousands of people who are in front of the stage, and who have no idea who you are and who want to check you out. And, they start like this with their arms crossed, and before you know it, they're pounding the fists and they're into it. So it's cool. We got to tour the UK a few years ago, and the same thing happened. We feel like we've really gained a lot of fans out in Europe, or in England, and Scotland and Wales because of that, which was awesome.
How many times have you been over there?
Only once. We've been there
Just
once.
once. Okay.
2018, we went there. We were hoping to go back around the time when COVID happened and
Oh
actually
God.
sat down. And so it's on our radar because our last album, Superfine Sugar, was released by a label out of the UK.
Hmm.
And that got us some great reviews in various publications. We did interviews with Swedish magazines and good reviews in English and French publications. So that was really positive for us. And now the new label's Australian, but they're like doing global distribution for us. So we'll see what the next year or so holds if there's another opportunity to get out there. That's not cost prohibitive. Touring is expensive these days, and touring overseas even more so. So,
Oh geez, I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
and especially if you're not getting gigantic guarantees. We're not a band that's going to get like, we're going to be playing smaller places, or we're going to be opening for other bands. So we're not,
Mhm.
we're not at a stage where we're going to get enormous guarantees. So we've got to make enough to subsist, and if we can do that, we'll go out and do it. We have fans out there now who keep asking us to come back. So it's just about finding the right package or the right promoter or something. We're
Yep.
always keeping our eyes open and our ears are listening. So we'll see what happens.
You always got to make sure you've got you're in the hands of the right people while you're
Yeah,
doing this here. Did you ever
absolutely.
see that Anvil documentary?
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
God.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes me cringe thinking about how they were in the middle of Europe somewhere and the guy forgot they were coming and he never promoted
Yeah.
them.
Right. Or didn't want to pay him or whatever. And it's like, man, we're all the way over here trying to do a show. What are we doing here?
Oh my God.
You
That's like a night that that was that movie was and God bless those two for sticking it out all this time. I mean,
Great. I agree.
oh my God.
They're good guys. I've met them once or twice. They're
Mhm.
really, really nice guys. And very talented dudes.
Oh yeah.
And I'm really happy they kind of got their second wind, third
Mhm.
wind now, who knows, but they're still doing it. I mean, for us, when we toured the UK,
Mhm.
uh, we did that ourselves. I booked those shows. I had been out there the year before at a festival show, and started making some content. I just been as a fan. I went out there, to see this show in England and made a whole bunch of contacts out there, and I made a friend out there who volunteered to be our driver and our merch guy for free. Just I'll put him up for a place to sleep, and he'll just fool around with us and sell our merch and be our roadie and drive us everywhere. And so that helped cut costs. And then I met a bunch of promoters, and we put that together. So that was a lot of fun. I mean, some shows obviously better than others. You know, people don't know us then, but few of them were just incredible. Like and I've made some lifelong friends. I think all of us have from that run. So hopefully we'll do it again. We'll see.
I've heard good things about your label too. I've had a number of guests recently that are signed on that label.
Yeah.
You know, Skins, you know, again with his, you know, one of his
American Jet Set.
Yeah, American Jet Set.
I heard where you were going there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know, Andy Henson.
Yep, Andy Henson's with them as well, and he's putting out a few some new singles with them, and he's kicking ass there. And yeah, the American Jet Set boys, what they're doing for us and for bands like us is just giving us global distribution and getting the music in the ears of people that we may not be able to get to on our own, which is cool. It's not a full deal. We made our own the CDs you got to get from us, but all the streaming they have made possible and gotten it out there. And the promotion's been good because we're getting hits from, all over the world, and, and getting some radio play here and there, and getting some good notes from some press. So that's the positive. It's just about name recognition really more than anything else,
Well, good. Well, hey, great to hear it, and I'm glad that that's working for you. It's always good to catch a break somewhere in this business, because it is just absolutely always something, and definitely not for the timid.
Yeah, and after a while, you can only do so much yourself, because before you hit a wall. So, just to get somebody else, just to even give you a little bit of a support and a little push, a promoter here, a label there, a radio station here, doing what you're doing. Every little bit counts.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So very interesting. That must have been a great experience, once in a lifetime, and just something you'll never forget, going over to Europe like that. So some of these others, I've been looking at your tour dates too. I mean, obviously, we did talk about, the KIX Fan Fest coming up. And the some of these other ones too. The Whiskey a Go-Go, I see you played out there about a year ago.
We did. We were there last summer with Dangerous Toys. We played there. We played there with a very early iteration of this band, even before we were called Streetlight Circus, because we started out as a solo project of mine, actually. Started out as I put out a solo album in 2006, David Shaw, and then I put a band together that started touring it, that eventually morphed into Streetlight Circus. So we went out there a few times and played, but we hadn't been out there in years. So last year, I finally talked to the guys. I said, listen, we can get on this show with Dangerous Toys. We know those guys a little bit. It would be it'd be a fun show to get out there and do. I've got some family out in LA. We've got fans who haven't seen us out there in forever. So that was great. And the really cool thing, and a shout out to a bunch of our Baltimore area fans, and they know who they are, flew out there for that. They actually flew out to the Whiskey show. They're Dangerous Toys fans, they're Streetlight Circus fans. They bought tickets. They were right up front rocking out with us. And a lot of the footage that they filmed wound up being in our video for our song Drive It Like I Stole It from the Superfine Sugar album, our last single, which was a lot of footage from there and from the Tally Ho Theater in when we opened for Lita Ford in Virginia. So it was a great experience. Great. We love playing that stage. I mean, it's legendary. So how cool
is it? I was just going to ask you, what was it like for you to walk? Was that your first time with the Whiskey?
No, like I said, we were there with some other iterations of the band early on.
We've
been there years prior. However, it doesn't get old,
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain places you play. Like I've had the good fortune in my life of I've been on the stage at CBGB.
Me too.
Right. I've been on the stage at Lemoore in Brooklyn. And some of these places that are just some legendary spots, and that's. So there's certain venues when you walk in and you just kind of feel history. You know what I mean? It's kind of like walking into Fenway Park or Wrigley Field or something like that if you're a baseball fan, right? Or or Lambeau Field if you're a football fan. You just kind of, my God, this is the Mecca. you know, whether it was on stage at CBGB or Lemoore, or then getting to play the Whiskey with this band now, these guys who are like, you know, my brothers, and being on stage at the Whiskey and just some of our favorite bands, whether it was, you know, Van Halen or, you know, whomever, The Doors or The Knack, or all these great bands that came through that stage, you know, just to be able to be part of it, a part of that part of the legacy of that room is incredible. So it's great. Plus it, you know, it sounds great in there, and it's a cool stage, and it's a great venue, and we've got some good fans out in LA. So hopefully we'll be back.
That's great. And part of the thing too is that, you know, the one thing that I regret, the only thing I regret about CBGB's was that, you know, I played there in the early 90s,
Yeah, me too.
and it was just not that was not the time when people were carrying around cell phones where you could take a picture.
Yeah.
I mean, taking a picture of something back then was actually kind of a big deal,
Right.
you know. You know,
Yeah, I
and a
agree.
lot of
Yeah.
yep, and a lot of places too wouldn't let you bring cameras in. So,
Mhm.
you know, what are you going to do? Put your camera, your expensive camera, back in your car in New York, you
Yeah.
know? And no offense,
Oh,
you know,
we're not that bad. You know, although I will say Lemoore in Brooklyn, and I mean, you're probably familiar with it, you know, was one of the most famous like rock clubs, you know,
mhm,
for hard rock and heavy metal bands. I think I had my car broken into 3 or 4, 5 times there. You know, every time I went to a show there, it was like,
right,
might
right.
as well just kiss your radio goodbye. Your car. I mean, it's just like every time.
As well getting a disposable, get into the disposable portable car
Yeah.
stereo
Well, it's like,
business.
okay, what is the show going to cost me? It's going to cost me a ticket to see KIX in Lemoore in like 1985, or Faster Pussycat, or whoever I was going to see, Dirty Looks, whatever. Okay, it's going to cost me this ticket. It's going to cost me a couple of beers. It's going to cost me a new pane of glass on the side panel of my side door of my car. It's going to cost me a new radio. Uh,
Hmm.
and then you kind of assess it and say, it's a good show. I'm going to go anyway. That's basically what was like. What was it like? What it was like going to Brooklyn to see rock concerts back then.
No, no, sure, sure. Well, you know, that's the way it is in Baltimore City too,
Yeah,
especially nowadays, really, instead of
yeah.
um
Knock on wood, our van hasn't gotten broken into yet. Our trailer, so far so good, but hopefully it won't happen next
mhm.
time. Ram's Head or something like that. You know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, it's one of those things too where you know, you're up there on the stage and it's surreal,
Hmm.
but then it's also very real too,
Yeah,
because you know
yeah.
there were, you know, you probably remember too, there's parts on that stage, if you're not careful, if you step in the wrong spot, you're going through.
Yeah, I've been on a lot of stages like that, unfortunately. You know, it's like, oh, this is a little tender spot right here. You
Hmm.
better beware. You know,
Yep.
let's not jump right here and land. It's
Right, right, right. You'll end up making your own trap door or something, you
oh
know.
yeah, 100%. Oh, what a cool effect they had. Yeah, underneath the stage bleeding.
Mhm. You're right. And nowadays, too, the big thing, and I can see there's quite a few of these dates on your schedule too, has been the breweries are popping up all over the
Yeah,
place, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Been some good places for some shows. We did in down in your neck of the woods, man. The what was it, Reckless Shepherd, that has hosted the
Hmm.
M3 M3 party a couple of times, which has been great. Was it Antietam Brewery, I think was the other one we played a show at recently, if
Oh
I'm not
yeah,
yeah, you know, some of those places have been hospitable, you know, to some original music again, which is nice because again, it's, you know, a lot of scenes, and especially out here in New York and Long Island, are really dominated by cover bands, you know,
mhm.
so it's nice to see some stages being opened up again for original bands, you know.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at but I played the Sparta Inn, Sparrows Point. That's my neck of the woods.
I don't even remember when I played there. When was
Yeah,
that?
18 back in 18.
Oh
It
my
looks
God.
like here. That just
Oh, yeah. I don't think that place exists anymore.
I don't think so neither.
Yeah.
I don't think so neither. And then the fire in Philadelphia. I was just up there last year.
Yep.
Red Dye number 9, previous guests on the show, you know, were playing there.
Yep.
And you know,
A fun divey little joint, you know, weird little thin stage, deep. It's a bizarre stage.
yeah.
But it was a fun place to play. But we played, yeah, that was a show put together, a whole bunch of band. We were friends with every band that was on the bill that night. And it was just a
Hmm.
kind of a goof fest for us. It was just a fun night. I'm not knocking the venue, and the venues was cool, but it was just for us, it was just fun palling around with all these bands that we knew from down the Philly and Baltimore area. It was great. Yeah, it was a great show.
Yeah, there's a lot of you had mentioned, a lot of the places are getting the cover acts in there too.
Yeah.
Been finding a number of the ones in the area around me, or the Baltimore area, have been getting a lot more open and a lot more supportive of the original acts.
Yeah.
It's always been a pendulum, over the years.
Sure.
It kind of goes back and forth all the time. But yeah, they're getting to be a little more. It's starting to swing back in the original band.
It's good to see. I mean, we did one of our release parties for Kisses Like Bullets. We did down at the Fish Head Cantina with our buddies in the Mathematics, one of Skins as bands.
Yeah.
And we love those guys. And that was a lot of fun. And that place is, putting in original music. But more of the times we come down there than not, fortunately, we've been playing some bigger rooms. We've done Ram's Head. We did Ram's Head with Stephen Piercy earlier this year. Yeah, and we've played there with KIX numerous times. Tally Ho Theater in Leesburg's been really good to us, and bringing us in for a bunch of shows. So that's been fun too, kind of getting on those larger stages in front of the bigger crowds. So, we'll play anywhere, but give us a big stage and we will rock it.
Right. Now the Rams Head. Did you do the Rams Head? It looks like you did both Rams Heads in Annapolis and Baltimore.
No, we've only done Rams Head Live, the Baltimore one.
Okay, you have.
I have
that's
not
right.
done the Annapolis one. We've done Rams Head Live with KIX. We've done the KIX Smith shows a couple of times.
Yeah.
We've been there with KIX, I would say, probably, I'm guessing 4 times off the top of my head. And then we recently did the Stephen Piercy show, which was fantastic. What a great night that was back in January. And we all, a lot of bands that come through there, the bigger headliners carry their own support with them, so we don't always get those shows. But we have a really great open communication with the talent buyer there, and he reaches out when he has something for us, which is great. And like I say, the Tally Ho Theater down in Leesburg has been another place, just really hospitable. Some of our best crowds down there. We've played there with KIX, and we've played there with Buck Cherry, and we've played there with Blue Oyster Cult, and we've played there with Lita Ford, and it's just a Firehouse. We play there. It was what a venue, great venue.
Oh, it is. It most definitely is. Yeah, there's a lot of nice places in Virginia too. Backseat Events is another one, which is great. We've done a couple of shows with 97 Underground down there, and
well, you got to book us on one of those, man. I haven't played that place yet.
Yeah, well, hey, I'll see what I can do. I can introduce you at least.
Yeah, man. Do it.
Yep. How about so it looks to me like I like your t-shirts too.
Yeah, we take pride in our designs.
I like the stacked logo, what they got, the stacked logo t-shirt. Yeah.
Well, you realize who we're biting off that for that one, of course. That's Cheap Trick's logo, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Shh, don't tell them. Don't tell them.
Yeah. That's why I said, what are you talking about? It's the stacked logo t-shirt.
Stacked logo t-shirt. Yeah. Little tip of the hat, to my favorite band. I gotta tell you, that's
Oh, aren't they? I tell you, they are still doing it.
Yeah,
sounding great.
I bought tickets this morning to see them in Allentown, Pennsylvania, next month. They're going to be doing that state fair out there with Blue Oyster Cult opening for them, and I'm like, yes, please. Those are 2 bands I love, so I'll be there.
Yeah, I tell you, I've seen them so many times over the years. And I've missed them so many times too, but I mean, it's the amount of times I've seen them. It's just definitely makes up for it. But they're always going.
They're great. They're touring constantly. Robin Zander is still singing incredibly well. He's my favorite. He is. I mean, if you're talking musical influences, Cheap Trick for me, and I'm not speaking for the rest of the band, but for me as a songwriter for this band and for all the projects I've ever been involved in, they are probably right at the top of the list as far as, I would say, influences. Not that I write like them. I don't. My music doesn't sound like Cheap Tricks necessarily.
Sure, right.
Although if you listen to enough of the stuff that I write, you can hear it. It's there.
Yeah.
In the harmonies or because I'm as much as we're a hard rock band, we have a very big kind of power pop influence also, and that comes from my love of Cheap Trick and the Cars and the Knack and bands like that. Those are like my favorite bands on the planet. And Robin Zander's my favorite singer of all time. So, and then you bring my guitar player George Janulis in, who grew up with Kiss and Van Halen, and he brings and Extreme. He's friends with Nuno Bettencourt, and he brings those influences into our music. And Alex, our other guitar player, who brings in his Aerosmith, and I love Aerosmith too, and his Black Sabbath influences and all of that kind of stuff. And our drummer, who's diehard Butch Walker and Living Color fan and stuff like that. So the thing that I love about our event, I mean, I'm going off on a little tangent here, I apologize, but the thing that I love, the thing that I like about, and again, I'm not saying this to toot our own horn, but I really think that our songwriting is a little bit unique because we are not straight like party metal or this kind of hard rock or that kind of hard rock. I think if you listen to a Streetlight Circus album, you hear a lot of different influences. You hear a lot of stuff in what we're doing, and it's still our sound. There is a consistency to it. But, it's not like they're wildly different songs, but I'll bring a song from Superfine Sugar to my guitar player George, the song Cherry Cola, which was a single. We released a video for it. And he heard it and he immediately channeled his inner Elliot Easton from the Cars and said, that's what this sounds like to me. And he did that. And then the title track, Superfine Sugar, he recorded the solo very shortly after Eddie Van Halen died. And the whole solo is a tip of the hat to Eddie.
Yeah.
So you can hear these things in our music, I think, if you listen to them. And, I have Burton Avere of the Knack, the guitar player, plays on Drive It Like I Stole It. He plays guitar on one of our songs. Brian Forsyth of KIX plays on one of our songs on that album. We've got guys from the Posies, the 90s power pop band out of Seattle, on the album because we've cultivated these friendships over the years with these guys. And our influences are all over the place. We got Tony Harnell from TNT singing on one of our songs. So it's
wonderful.
It's cool stuff. Anyway, long-winded way of just basically saying we are what we eat. We are, and what we eat is very diverse. And I think hopefully fans will hear that in the music that we write and put out there. So
right. Have you had any, and this is something I ask all bands really, have you had any Spinal Tap moments?
You mentioned before we went on the air with this that you were going to ask me that, so I was trying to think of what I can think of. I will say that we've probably had several over the years. If I went really down memory lane, we played this divey place, and I'm talking this really divey place in London on our UK tour. And we got in there, and the back line they were providing for us were these grubby little amps in this little corner of this room. The fans were great. I mean, there was a decent number of people there, and a lot of people who hadn't heard us before, and it was a lot of fun. It was a fun night, goofy show. Small, kind of really tight. Like everybody's like people are standing like right in your face, like while you're performing. Drunk out of their minds in this place in London, and we finish our set, and I'm packing stuff up, and I'm just hanging out in the bar area, whatever, and gathering up my gear. And this woman walks up to me and she says, I really liked you guys, and there's something about you on stage, and I really I want to whip you. She said. I said, I'm sorry. She goes, I really want I don't know if you're into that. I don't know what you're into, but I'd love to take you back to my place and just I'm a dominatrix, and I really just want to take your clothes off and whip you. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And she's really trying to get me into this and to go home with her and do this. And I just remember at some point how do I get her to stop asking me this? I'm not doing this. And she says, and I finally say to her, I say, listen, look, this isn't really my thing, but I really believe that my guitar player over there would really appreciate it, would really love. So I immediately sent her over to George, our guitar player, I was trying to pawn her off to see if she would then go make the same proposition. And I don't know if she ever did, but it became this great story of like, come on, Dave, why don't you go do it? You should have gotten whipped by this crazy British chick in England. That was a bizarre experience, but definitely one for the memory book.
Well, definitely, I would say that's boy, oh boy, it takes all kinds out there, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I take a whipping and keep on ticking, my man. That's it. That's it.
My goodness, my goodness.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Maybe I
so
missed out on something great. I don't know. Maybe I missed out. Who knows?
right. Maybe it was a game show or something. If you would
Yeah,
have gone back, somebody would
yeah.
have popped out of the closet with a giant check for you.
Oh, damn, now you're see, now you're giving me regrets, man. Jeez.
Oh boy. Well, yeah, it always starts with the crazy person coming up to
Yep.
you, you know. It always
We've had
starts
we've
with
had our
that.
share. We've had our share.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think we all have. Whenever you're doing anything in
Yeah.
terms of a performance or something like that,
Yeah.
you draw a lot of nice people, but then you draw a lot of,
Get
and
them all, man. And you got to entertain every damn one of them.
mhm.
So that's it. Because they all paid they all bought their ticket. So it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Exactly. And you have to be nice and
Yeah.
yeah.
We do our best. We
Yeah.
do our best.
Oh, that's too much though. That's too
Oh,
much.
that was good. I really want to whip you. Okay. Maybe not. Go talk to him.
Right. Oh man. Did so you've got you had mentioned uh your album just out now. You've got a single coming out not too far from now, around
Yes.
August 16th, did you say?
August 16th will be the follow-up single. We released ahead of the here. Oh, look, here's I could do my Vanna White again or whatever.
Yep.
Ahead of the release of Kisses Like Bullets, we released the title track. We have a video out for it. So if you haven't heard us, go go to YouTube and check out the video for that song. That's the title track, Kisses Like Bullets. And August 16th, the label's going to release Creek Don't Rise as a single, and that's a very different song for us. It's when I say different, it's still us. It sounds like us, but it's a real bluesy number. I refer to it as kind of a bluesy apocalyptic rock and roll. The lyrics are kind of dark. God willing, and the creek don't rise. When things are hitting the fan. But it's a fun bluesy number. We have Randy Pratt of the legendary band Cactus playing harmonica on it, and he did a great job on that for us.
Oh,
Uh,
that's great.
yeah, that was really cool. And trying to work up a video for it. May just be a lyric video. We're not sure yet. We'll see what we're working with our director on that and seeing what we can come up with for that. And August 16th, Creek Don't Rise will be the next single that we'll be pushing. We're not even playing that one live yet. It's actually a little more complicated to play live, but we'll see if it winds up in the set.
Mhm.
But I think we just decided to release it because I think it's just got a little bit of a different feel for us, and our fans will dig it, you know?
I think so too. I've heard it, and
Yeah.
it's nicely done, very nicely done. The whole album's nicely done
Thank you.
too. And it's it's again, these are the ones that were that now. Are you working on anything else now, or are you going to kind of just work on promoting what you have here and then
Yeah,
do
I
some
think
more?
for the moment, we're trying to promote this. So we don't
Hmm.
have anything new in the works. We're looking for trying to keep touring off of this and putting some dates together to support the new release. I'm always writing. I've got, files of ideas and song ideas, and I'm sure at some point we'll get back to writing some new stuff and recording again. But I think for the moment, and I think like I mentioned early on, in a lot of ways, a lot of us still feel like our 2022 release, Super Fine Sugar, still has some legs. We really love this album. We are incredibly proud of it. We think it's our best work. And that's not knocking the new EP because these were from these sessions. It's kind of like I said, it's a kind
Yeah,
of a
yeah.
package deal. So they're all part of the same sessions and the same writing sessions and recording sessions. So we really want to get more ears on them, and get
Oh,
more
sure.
this stuff. I'm not ready to. We're not quite ready to put these things to bed yet, and we
Yeah.
move on from them. And we think there's a lot of material there. There's so many songs from this one from both of these that we haven't played live yet, that we'd still like to work into the set. I think we're going to try to work in, there's talk that we're going to try to work in a song called Trouble from this album, Superfine Sugar, into the set that we're doing October 5th at the KIX Fan Fest because it's the song on which Brian Forsyth of KIX contributed guitar. So he plays on the song.
Oh, sure.
Ideally, not, I don't know if Brian would be there to join us on stage for it, but it would be fun to say, hey, we're going to do a song for you at the KIX Fan Fest that Brian Forsyth is on. You know, that'll
Mhm.
help with some interest. So there's some talk that we'll do that for the very first time, maybe at that show. So we'll see.
Have a plate of duck eggs there to kind of entice them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Right.
That's one man, he loves his duck eggs.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta just keep people interested.
Exactly, exactly. So you're a Gibson man, huh?
I am. I am. I'm a started as a Thunderbird player. You know, my first Gibson was my
Hmm.
Thunderbird. Bought it Long Island in the 90s. It's a 1970s something or another, I think. Gibson Thunderbird. Oh God, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Hmm.
It's and I've been a Gibson guy ever since. I play a Gibson Les Paul now. I joke that it was my white whale trying to find a standard black Les Paul bass, and I finally found one that was in great shape from some guy in Texas who sold it to me on Reverb, and it's great. It's the one you'll see in most of the recent videos and stuff. And I got a Jack Cassidy bass, one of the Epiphones too. Those are nice, fun to play. I don't play them as much. I don't play that one as much as I used to, but it's in the mix.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've always been a Gibson bass guy myself.
yeah,
I had the G3,
yeah.
like the grabber, and I still have a RD artist. There's the RD. There's like a lot of the ones they had artist at the end when they have the active
Right, yeah,
electronics.
right.
And I bought that, and I think I bought it in '86.
Yeah,
And that was back in the days, as we were talking before, about the hot paint jobs and the pointier guitars. And that one, it's like an Explorer or
yeah.
but rounded off a little more.
Sure. Yeah,
And it didn't. It was just a maple finish, and playing it in the late '80s with everybody's paint jobs and their pointier and more space age looking guitar. Everybody's like, "Why are you playing that?"
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, a
You were
couple
ahead of
years,
your time. You were ahead of your time, my man.
yes, and because a couple years later, eBay comes out, and you look on eBay, these bases, I paid $260 for that base
Oh, nice.
in 1986, and it was,
Yeah,
not long after that, it was like close to 3 grand.
yeah, yeah. Did you sell it or do you still have it?
Oh no, no, no! I still have her. I still
Yeah,
have her. She needs some work, but
yeah,
I do have it. Yeah. And that's the one that's will be in my will to somebody.
nice.
You know.
Say I was those other guys, man. The bass that I was playing in when I was in a band called Shotgun Annie back in the 80s here in New York was a Guild Flying Star hot pink uh pointy ass bass. If
Hmm.
I played it now I would look absolutely ridiculous. But back then it was what people were doing. My first bass that I got when I was in high school was a Rickenbacker. Uh,
Hmm.
and I bought it off this guy in our neighborhood for $200, right? And
Hmm.
and I played it at a show at a local youth center or whatever. It was like, I'm talking like high school age, It was my first, second, third gig ever playing bass I was a lead singer only, and then also I was learning to play bass. I'm playing this gig, and this guy walks up to me after the show and he says, "That's my bass." What are you talking about? Because that bass you're playing was stolen from me. That's my bass. What are you talking about? He pulls out of his wallet. He has the serial number
Mm.
of the bass. It's his bass that had been stolen from, and the guy who sold it to me sold me a stolen bass,
Mm.
like 200, $250, whatever. And I was so miserable. I was like, oh my God, I had to give this guy his bass back. And he was nice. He gave me $100 for my trouble. So I'll give you $100 just to, at least be. And I was so pissed, but and I never saw the other guy who sold it to me again and the whole thing. So it was a whole, but that was my first bass experience was, oh, I got this
Mm.
Rickenbacker. Oh, who plays Rickenbacker? Oh, Geddy Lee. That's cool. I'll be a Rickenbacker guy. And oh yeah, no, this is, I can't have it anymore. I have to give it back to this
What a
dude.
shame. What a
Yeah.
shame.
Yeah, but listen, all roads led to the Gibsons, so it's all good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You do ampegs or what rig?
I've sized everything down. I'm playing through a Mark bass now. Mark bass,
Hmm.
410 cabinet and a little Mark head, and it's powerful. It sounds great. They're lightweight. They don't take up too much space. You know, I'm at the point now. It's not about the size. Size doesn't matter. It's not about the size of the amps. Oh God, man, I used to lug around these cabs that were just like, you know, like bigger than coffins
Mm-hmm.
to gigs, you know, back in the day. And it's like, I don't have the patience or the back for it anymore. So,
Right, right, right.
yeah. So I've whittled everything down and try to keep it simple, and everything sounds great. You know, it's at
Yep.
the end of the day, find something that sounds good. They're gonna pump it through the PA anyway. You know, you're gonna be just fine. You know, you don't have to have the most gigantic equipment, you know, to sound
Right.
good. People play through little Fender combos and sound great sometimes. You know, it's you know, there's no need for just, you know, I see guitars still young players show up with these rigs that are like out of control sometimes, and I'm like, oh, they'll learn. They'll learn.
Yeah, I
You
remember
know,
I've had a lot of acts on here that were from the Baltimore DC corridor, and one of the clubs that down near College Park, where University of Maryland is, was a place called the Paragon, where they used everybody talks about the stairs from hell
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
they
yeah.
were because they
Sure.
were way upstairs, big building. You had to go way upstairs and lug. I had Ampeg equipment back then, tubes.
Yeah,
Now I've got a little Ampeg, you know, about this big.
yeah,
It's transistor. I mean, you can pick it up like this,
yeah.
and
You can
sounds just as good.
hold it like a boombox and just,
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
I got to put a rock on top of it so it doesn't blow over. With the wind. It's that light, and
I was there, man, lugging gigantic gear upstairs into venues, and it's just at some point you're like, what am I doing here? You know, is
mhm.
so I was very happy to scale things down a little bit. I mean, and I still get a great sound. I'm very, very happy with the sound I get from from the Mark bass. It's they've been great amps. They pair well with the Gibsons. They sound great. No complaints.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, David, it's been great having you on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time to come talk to
Pleasure.
us and letting us know about the new music coming out, where we can find you, what you've got coming up here. I'd like to give you a couple minutes now to do your shameless plugs. This is the shameless plug portion of the evening where you shamelessly plug anything as shamelessly as possible, with all shamelessness encouraged and no shamelessness spared. So have at it.
I have no shame. I'm here to promote. I mean, listen, if there's people who don't know who we are, you know who we are now. Go find us. We are on all of your streaming platforms. Streetlight Circus, the new CD, 4-song EP, Kisses Like Bullets, an album we are incredibly proud of. Superfine Sugar. Here is Needle Down, another one of our albums. It's got the song Ghetto Blaster on it, which is our closer and probably our most popular song, to be honest with you. Although we have a few new ones, Drive It Like I Stole It, and some others that are starting to rise up the ranks a little. Um, so I would encourage people to go to streetlightcircus.com, buy a seat. Listen, the bottom line is independent bands and bands on indie labels like us survive because people like you and fans and new people who find bands like us support them. So that's the key. It's not so yes, do we appreciate somebody going on to a streaming platform and checking us out and listening? Yes. Do we really appreciate if they download the album and pay a couple of bucks to own the thing and download it? Even more so. Going to our website, buying a t-shirt, getting physical copy. And if you don't have a CD player, get 4 of these, and then they can be like coasters, or you can move furniture with them. So you can do that too. Or they make great stocking stuffers. Do that. And what else we got coming up? So anyway, streetlightcircus.com. We're on all the social media as well, Facebook and Instagram and X and we have a TikTok page we don't use that much, but we have it. So if you use it, go over there and we'll start using it more. And then for gigs coming up, or at least at the time we're talking right now, Michael, we have October 5th, which is KIX Fan Fest. So even if you're not a KIX fan, just come hang out. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a full day of rock and music down in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. The address is on our website, streetlightcircus.com, and the tour dates page. Um, and we're headlining that show. We've played with KIX so many times. We have a great relationship with the guys in the band and an even better relationship with KIX fans. So we're very appreciative and humbled and honored that they asked us to come out and perform then at the KIX Fan Fest again, October 5th in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. And it's an outdoor show. There may be some KIX guys and an all-star jam at the end. I don't know. I can't confirm or deny that. But come out and hang out. Everybody should come out and hang out, and hopefully, and just keep an eye on our website as we keep popping up and our social medias and stuff as we pop up some more shows as they come up. Always working on stuff.
Sure, we will.
Plenty of irons in the fire.
Absolutely. Well, that's great to hear. That's great to hear. So we will have your website listed in the show notes of the episode when we list it online. And folks, get out and check out Streetlight Circus. Well worth checking out. I've heard some of their material. Great albums they have. Some other things I want to mention too. And just like David was saying, not only are these great for your own collection, the CDs and the t-shirts and everything. What else do they make? They make great gifts.
Yes, gifts.
They make great gifts. We have the holidays will be here before you know it.
That's right.
Birthdays.
Start planning ahead.
Yes. Birthdays coming up. Give.
Yes.
A band's
Streetlight Circus.
Right. Give Streetlight Circus to your family and relatives for their birthday. And
I like it.
They'll love you. They'll love you for it. So, David, thank you for joining us today.
I'll love them for it too, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. It's been my pleasure, man. It's been great.
Yep. Absolutely. Folks, you've been listening to Fowl Players Radio, David Shaw from Streetlight Circus, and we will see you all next time. Thank you all for listening. Folks, thanks for tuning in tonight. I really enjoyed my conversation with Streetlight Circus's David Shaw. We had a great time talking about their new EP that's out, Kisses Like Bullets, really cool artwork on there, and the songs are just great. They have a new single coming out called Creek Don't Rise, which is going to be out in the middle of August of this year. So make sure you check it out. Thanks again for your support of Fowl Players Radio and our guests. And we can't do it without you all. Remember, go to our pages, foulplayersradio.com, youtube.com/@foulplayersradio. Hit that like and subscribe button. Remember to support our guests in their endeavors. Hit that like and subscribe button for us, and we will see you all next time, folks. Enjoy. Michael Spedden signing off.